Hello, Needy. Say, I just stood at the door for 10 minutes and cried because mom wouldn't let me in. Hello, everybody. My name's Sabrina. Welcome back to my channel.
I'm so excited to have you here.
Today, I'm going to be talking about all of the books I read throughout April, which is these plus an audiobook. 2 audiobooks? 1 audiobook. So, throughout April, I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books plus an audiobook. So, we're just going to get right into this. But before I begin, make sure you check down below for the quarantine readathon that's going on right now. All of the prompts are down below. You're welcome to choose a couple or do them all. It lasts throughout the whole month of May, and I would be really excited to see you guys do this with me. I have posted my SCRIBD and my book of the month link down below. I'd love for you guys to join those. They're fantastic websites to help your book reading, and if you sign up for SCRIBD, we both get a free month, so that's super cool. So the first book I read through April was Biscuits and Browns by Maddie Day. This book is about a girl who owns a little breakfast shop in a small town of Brown County in Indiana. While they're having this extravaganza where they are celebrating the town and the town's history, a guest judge for one of the bake-a-thons dies, and there are several people who are a suspect. This story kind of just follows our main character Robbie as she tries to figure out who committed this murder. This story overall was a pretty good read for me. The only thing I didn't enjoy about it was there were a lot of side stories that I felt weren't necessary. I feel like they were just there to make the book longer, which I'm sure you guys know that I don't like that. I don't think you should have to put in extra things to make your book better. There are a lot of side stories, like we talked about an ex-boyfriend that used to hate her. We talked about her getting stalked, and I felt like that were extremely irrelevant. I feel like it took away from the mystery of the murder, and that kind of bothered me because I feel like if you have a book about murders, it should focus really in on that mystery, and this book just didn't do that for me. But overall on my Goodreads, I did rate this a 3.5 out of 5. Overall, it was a really good read. I just didn't like all the distractions that it had because I don't like my books to have a lot of distractions. The next book I've read throughout the month of April was The Lemon Orchard by Luann Rice. This book is about a girl who heads from her beautiful New York home all the way to sunny California, where she is sought to look after her uncle's lemon orchard while they are off in Germany doing whatever they're doing. So while she's there, she meets an immigrant worker named Roberto, and this story follows his story of him coming to America illegally and then getting caught and then coming back. As he came here illegally, he lost his daughter on the trip, and we kind of are uncovering the story of Roberto and his daughter as we're trying to figure out what happened to Roberto's daughter. Overall, this story was a really good read. I think it touched on a lot of subjects not very many people talk about in writings, but I thought that it really gave me a new look on immigration and the reforms that are needed for US immigration. So overall, I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5. For me, there were just some things about it that I couldn't place it at a full 5. So I gave this one a 4.5. The next book I read was The Asylum by Madeline Rowett. I believe her last name is. This book is about a boy who heads off to a New Hampshire college that used to be an asylum for a summer college experience while he is in high school. So while he is there, he uncovers all these truths about the asylum that is now the college. There are a lot of rooms that are boarded up, but they're not empty, so they still have all these patient files, which is a clear violation of HIPAA, by the way. But we have all these patient files that he can go through, and he learns a lot of things about the asylum that he didn't want to know. Like, he learns that the serial killer that was there actually was never found after they raided the asylum and closed it, so he left and they didn't know what happened to him. So he is just uncovering a lot of things about the asylum. Overall, I thought this was a pretty good read. Some things I didn't like about it were the characters were supposed to be 15 and 16, but a lot of times they read as adults, and that kind of bothered me. And then a lot of times I had to reread because it was really wordy, and then I got really confused. Overall, I did give this book a 3 out of 5. Maybe just because it wasn't for me. I tried to start the next book. There are 3 books in the series plus a novella. I read the novella. I really enjoyed the novella, so I thought I would like the series. I attempted to read the second book, but for me, it was just this book set somewhere else. And that, it's hard for me to read that because I just feel like I'm reading the same story, and the whole point of the next book is to get something new out of it. So yeah, I give this book a 3.5 out of 5. I probably won't reread it again, but something I did like about it was they have all these like creepy pictures in it. I like that in a way, but at the same time it was like super creepy as I was trying to read it in the middle of the night in my bed. The next book I read was All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. This book is about a girl who went to high school in this really small town where everybody knows everybody, and on the last night of their senior year they go to a county fair and her best friend goes missing and no one ever finds her. One interesting thing about this book is it reads backwards. So we are reading today, and then the next chapter would be yesterday, and then the next chapter is the day before yesterday. That in itself can be a little confusing because we read something and then we don't learn completely about it till the next chapter. So that was a little confusing for me. I had to reread a lot, but overall I think it was a really good story. We're learning about what happened that night at the fair. We're learning about what happened to her friend, and overall I did give this book a 4 out of 5. I did enjoy the story once I got into it, but something I didn't like about it was I did have to reread so many times to understand. The next book I read was The Gravity of Us by Phil Stamter. This book is about a kid named Cal who is an internet star. He does news series on a Flash Fame app, and his father wants to be an astronaut. Well, his dad is picked to be an astronaut on the new Mars mission. We are going to Mars. And his father up and moves his whole family to Texas, and while they are in Texas he meets a fellow astronaut's son and they fall in love, and we are kind of following their story of them uncovering all secrets about this show that follows the astronauts. And overall I thought this was a really good book. For some reason I have been getting recommended all the gay love stories and I'm all about it. I think they're better than normal love stories. Warms my heart. But overall I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5. I loved this book. I think it was such a good book overall, but for me I just felt like there was something missing and I couldn't give it a full 5. The next book I have, okay, slide out of the cover, I don't know who you think you are. The next book I have are The Immortal List by Chloe Benjamin. This book is about 3 siblings who go and visit a psychic as children, and this psychic is going to tell them when they're going to die. The rest of their life they are following this date religiously. This is the date they are going to die. For me, this book was not what I expected it to be. For some reason I expected this book to be filled with mystery, and it was very point blank for me. I felt like it was very boring. It took me a while to get through it. I felt like it had so much potential that was not met, and that was really disappointing for me. But overall I give this book a 3 out of 5 just because it didn't meet my expectations. It does not mean that it wasn't a good book. It just didn't meet my expectations and I felt it was very boring. It just wasn't for me. Yeah, but I thought the cover was really pretty. The next book I have is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This book is about a kid named Wade. We are in the year 2044, and in this year we are in a poverty-stricken United States. We are living in trailers that are stacked on top of each other. We are living in a world of stealers and embezzlers, and it is just not a good time where Wade lives. And we are following his adventure through the Oasis, which is a virtual reality game where he can just forget about everything that's going on around him. They announced this challenge where you can go and find all of these hidden Easter eggs throughout the game to be able to win complete access of the game after the creator passes away. So we are just following Wade through this adventure trying to find all of these Easter eggs, and as he's finding them, people want him dead, people want to win, and he finds friendship along the way, and it was just such a good story. I actually watched the movie before I read the book, which is not something that I usually do, but I'm glad I did because I did like the book more than I liked the movie. So overall I gave this book a 5 out of 5. Yes, I said that, a 5 out of 5. I don't give 5 out of 5s very often, but I just felt like this was such a good read. I was able to immerse myself in a new world that I wasn't able to do with the rest of these books. It was very realistic in a way that we already have virtual reality, but not in this level. So I will recommend this book because overall I just thought it was really good. The next book I have is Khurana Fire by Renee April. This book is about a girl who can command fire with her hands. Amazing. And then she jumps in a river, her friend Tyson jumps in after her, and they are swept away in this world of Letheria. Letheria is this magical kingdom, and when you think magical kingdoms like princesses, I'm talking that, like Disney princess carriages in the street, Letheria. And then we are following her through the academy where she is learning how to master her powers. Overall, this book was really fast paced for me. I didn't feel like we got to uncover Letheria. I felt like she could have done a lot better of a job describing the world and giving us a better view of it. It was really straight shot, like out of the river into this shabby little cottage and then to the academy. Like it wasn't, we didn't really experience the land itself, and I felt like that would have been such a good aspect to add to it. But it was so fast paced. Like one second she was at home, the next she was in the river, the next she was in Altheria, the next she was at the academy, the next she was fighting, and the next it was a boom 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 boom. And I felt like we could have really made this book a little longer and just gave us that extra detail, made it a little more slower. But overall, I did give this book a 4 out of 5. I did think it was a good read, even though it was so fast. I also read Only Mostly Devastated by Sophie Gonzalez. This book is about a boy who spends the summer in West Virginia with his aunt, and he falls in love with this boy named Will. Well, he has to go back to his home, and then his parents decide they are going to move to West Virginia because his aunt has cancer. So when he's there, he realizes he is moving to the same town as Will and the same school Will goes to, and he accidentally outs Will. People at Will's school do not know he's gay. So he ends up trying to avoid Will completely, which, you know, never happens with people you love. You end up coming back to them. So him and Will end up falling for each other, and slowly we are uncovering him coming out to his friends, out to his family. And like I said, with the gay love stories I've been recommended lately, they are so good. Like, this is such a heartwarming novel. Like, it was like friends to enemies to lovers, and it was just like all of it together, and I loved this book. Like, I don't know if it's just the gay love story, I don't know if it's because it was such a cute read, I just enjoyed it a lot. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 just because it was so cute. I loved it. The only thing I didn't like about it, I gave it a 4 out of 5. If I would have read it instead of listening to the audiobook, it probably would have got a 5 out of 5. But what ruined it for me was the lady who read this book on SCRIBD made me want to shove a gel pen in my ear. I hated her voice. Like, and then there are children in the book. Like, he babysits his niece and nephew a lot, and the voice she used for the children, I hated it so much. But yeah, overall, I loved this book. I would highly recommend it. I would not recommend the audiobook because it was terrible. The next book I read was actually an audiobook, so I guess I listened to it. Was Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. This book is about a girl and her mother. We read it from their point of views, and their dad slash husband passes away in a tragic accident, as does the aunt slash sister. So we find out throughout the novel that the husband was actually having an affair with the sister. So we are kind of just following the story of mom trying to hide that from her daughter trying to figure out what happened, and then the grieving that's going on here. Overall, this was such a fantastic book. We are talking about family, we are talking about grieving, we have a love story for both of them, and overall it was just the perfect story of learning how to cope with the death, a husband, a wife, an aunt. We are learning how to grieve through this story, and it was such a good book. Like, I didn't expect it to be that good, but it was. And I liked it a lot. I don't think there was anything I really didn't like about this story, because we have, you know, the strong mother figure, we have the rebellious teenager, and I just thought it was such a good book. I did listen to this audiobook. The ladies who read it on SCRIBD were really good. Like, I loved the way they depicted this novel, and I thought it was perfect. But those are the books I've read throughout the month of April. I think it was a pretty good month. I had 3 stars and above for everything, which is amazing. I usually don't have that good of a month. I didn't DNF anything, which usually happens as well. But that is going to be all the books I've read for April. Make sure you check down below for the quarantine readathon. My SCRIBD referral link is down there as well. You get a free month of reading if you subscribe under my link, and then I also have my book of the month subscription box down there. It's $10 a month, and you get to pick 1 book a month. This month I chose, what did I choose this month? This month I have 2 new books coming. I'm so excited. I think I have Beach Read from last month, and then the new one from this month. I'm so excited. I think they're gonna be such good reads. Last month I got, what did I get last month? Last month I got Valentine by, who's it by? I don't even remember. I have not read it yet. I think I'm gonna read that next month for my TBR. But I'm excited, and I think you guys should sign up for it because it's like a mystery box. It's like a book in your mail, and it's $10. They have custom covers and everything. It's amazing. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you'll give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. There must be something.